Lesson 2.1 Important Events Gutenberg and the Printing Press. In order to understand where we're at in the world of journalism today, you need to understand where it all started. We're going to look at some key events in history that are important for you to know about in order for you to be a good journalist today. This is just an overview of a few events, and you'll want to hit the books and do your research in order to really be a journalism ninja warrior. It all starts here, not surprisingly, with this guy that has an excellent beard. This man is Johannes Gutenberg, a German guy living in the 14th century. Like many great men, Gutenberg saw a problem and he created a solution. Now, at the time when Gutenberg was around, if you wanted to read just about anything, you had to go find the one book that it was written in. And you better hope that that one book hadn't burnt in a fire or been eaten by a goat. In fact, the only way you could get a book was to copy one, word for word, by hand. And that's assuming you were one of the few people who could actually read and write. In fact, there were religious people, these monks, whose whole lives were dedicated to painstakingly copying important religious, scientific, medical, historical, and social texts by hand. Like this one right here, and you can tell they took a lot of pride and detail in how they did it. The problem that Gutenberg saw was that this took a really long time. He thought that there must be a way to recreate these important texts faster and in greater numbers so that people could have the important information that they needed. Imagine how you feel when your internet connection is running really slow and you can't load information that you really need. It's frustrating, right? That's how Gutenberg felt, except multiplied by like a million. So he began working on an invention to fix the problem. What he came up with was the first ever printing press with movable type. He designed this machine where you could take these metal pieces of type and line them up on a board to say whatever you wanted to say on a page, dipping that whole board in ink and then pressing it to pieces of paper like a stamp as many times as you wanted. All of a sudden, you could make multiple copies of a book in a much shorter amount of time. His invention caused an information boom across the known world, and people were able to share their ideas and important information with one another like never before. One of the first books Gutenberg printed was the Christian Bible, and you can go to several different museums to this day and see original copies of the first mass-produced book ever, the Gutenberg Bible. This invention would get more information to more people. It increased the number of people learning to read and write, and for the first time in history, people started doing what we still do today through mediums like social media and other media outlets. They shared what was going on in their lives and in their world, news and information. We do the same thing today thanks to Gutenberg and his printing press.